International affairs analyst Paul Ejime joins me on the news to discuss this. Good to have you join us, Paul Ejime.
Thank you for having me.
So this march is buttressing the very issue that lies at the heart of the conflict between Israel and Palestine. And I want to get your reaction to this march and what you whether you think it will threaten the ceasefire that is already in place.
Well, there is the likelihood, but remember it was to have taken place on May the 10th, but was pushed, forward. And also remember that not long ago, remember the confrontation that happened there, where the Palestinians lost more than 250 people, and the Israelis, about 13. So you asked whether it will threaten the ceasefire that Egypt brokered. It's a thin line. I think it's very delicate situation, and very much so for the Naftali Bennett Prime Minister premiership. He was just sworn in a few days ago. So it remains to there is tension in the air, like you have said, from 6 p.m. There is heavy security. And both sides, the Israelis, the far right, they are trying to undertake the march, while the Palestinians are also all gearing up for confrontation. But it can be avoided by trying now to negotiate, look for a route that will not allow the Israelis to pass through the gate, the Damascus gate, into the old city. They can bypass that and then still get access to where they want to go. It's really that the tension that you have seen since 1967. The Israelis, they do this almost every year to commemorate their victory in the Middle East war of since 1967. And so every year is a cycle. But now the problem for the new government of, patched up coalition, 8 parties for Bennett, is going to be tested to see how.
And it's interesting you mentioned that, because a part of that, a party that makes up that coalition, headed by, that's the Arab party headed by Mansour Abbas, has already spoken against this and called it a provocation. So it is like the first real test for Naftali Bennett.
Exactly, and then how he manages this, navigates this, will determine how the kind of what it will take for him to see this through. Remember that Netanyahu is still sulking about his defeat and has sworn that he will bring down this new government. So he can do everything and anything. He's a hawkish politician. And all of them, by the way, himself and Bennett, they all belong to the right wing. So it remains to be seen how he will be able to negotiate it. And perhaps the Egyptians will come here. If the dilemma is that if he agrees to, diversion, not allowing them to pass through the Damascus gate, he will seem as weak. If he doesn't do that. So it's a catch-22 situation for him, really. So one would not like to. Nobody will envy him in this. But that is what Israeli politics is all about.
Wasn't this expected anyway? Because when you look at the fact that you are right about the fact that he's right wing, just as well as former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, but he's far right. He's pro-annexation, so he's always been against the Palestinian state. So wasn't this expected, or isn't this some sort of the foretaste of things to come?
Well, the fact that he still has the coalition has people that you call strange bedfellows. It's made up of everybody. He will likely going to listen to those who are not as hawkish as himself or Netanyahu to navigate a middle course, which might be to placate those who to say, well, listen, going through and provoking the Palestinians into another confrontation will do nobody no good. So perhaps if the destination is to go to the shrine, By the way, what is at stake here is that there are 3 shrines there that for the Judaism, Christianity, and then Islam. That is where the issue is. And one group wants to get to that their own shrine, and they need to pass through the other. So the solution, let's look at the solution, would be to placate the hawkish to say, listen, if do your match, but don't carry it through where you will provoke, violence that will not help. It will not help the Israelis. It's not going to help Palestinians either. I think they should look at it that way for the time being, so that the ceasefire that we talked about can be maintained, and then relative peace. You can really not have lasting peace in the Middle East. That's the dilemma that the world has.
Absolutely, and I'm sure right now Egypt, the US, and all those responsible for the ceasefire are all on the edge of their seats. We'll see how things play out. International affairs analyst Paul Ejime, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you for having me.